On Sunday, January 26th, local Democrats gathered at the Wilburton Inn in Manchester Village to hear from several of the party's candidates who have thrown their hats into the ring for statewide office. It was also a chance for their supporters to mingle and get enthused about the elections that will be coming up later this year. Beginning with the presidential primary on March 3rd, Vermont is one of 14 states which will be voting on Super Tuesday that day, which is also town meeting day. Then on August 11th, when the state primary will be held to determine the nominees for state offices such as governor and lieutenant governor. The general election will be held on November 3rd, when every elected office from the presidency on down to local state representatives and state senators will be decided. Lieutenant Governor David Zuckerman and Rebecca Holcomb, a former education secretary, are running for the Democratic nomination for governor, and both were present at the gathering to drum up support for their candidacies. They spoke about the issues uppermost in their minds and why they were running. Economics, the environment, and health care were among the issues most, if not all, the several candidates stressed as being central to their candidacies.
Well, I think there's no doubt that there's a couple of primary issues for the state of Vermont. One is our rural economy and the economy with respect to our working class Vermonters who are really struggling. The second is climate crisis, and frankly, those two are blended together in many ways. Our rural economy is founded on tourism and agriculture and outdoor recreation, and the climate is going to greatly impact all of those things. But also, if we could really expand rural broadband, we would have a much better economic opportunity for a lot of folks, particularly in the southern half of the state, with close proximity to the urban areas to our south. And if people could run their businesses out of Vermont as CPAs or other consultants or even legal folks who are working with those businesses, it would be easy enough to go down and visit with them every month for a day or two, but live in Vermont, raise your children in Vermont. I think it would actually attract a lot of younger folks to Vermont to live here and be part of repopulating our rural communities.
You know, if you'd asked me, even in 2017, never would have imagined I'd be doing this right now. But when you work in schools and when you have the chance to visit every community around the state, you get a chance to see firsthand both how hard people are working to keep a roof over their heads, keep food on the table, and also how difficult it is. And having had the opportunity now to go out and speak to people around the state, I'm hearing the same issues. I'm hearing real anxiety about the cost of health care, up double digits 2 years in a row, about the cost of housing, feeling that people are struggling that can work full-time at minimum wage and not be able to cover their rent. I was speaking to someone up in Addison County who works full-time as the director of the program that provides support for all the people in recovery in the county, and she has no health insurance and just had to move out of her house because she couldn't afford a home. This isn't Vermont. This is not a way to support people so that they can go out and work and be prosperous and create prosperity. And one of the reasons I'm running for governor is I think we can do an awful lot better.
It's a three-way race at the moment for lieutenant governor on the Democratic side. Tim Ash, the president pro tem of the state Senate, State Senator Debbie Ingram of Chittenden County, and Brenda Siegel, who ran for the governorship in 2018, were also there, and we had a chance to speak with each of them.
I guess what I really would like to achieve as lieutenant governor is to use the platform, because it doesn't have a lot of designated duties, but it's a great opportunity to bring people together from all over the state and to really listen to them, to find out from them how our policies and laws are working, or if they're working. And I think you really need to listen to the people on the ground to understand what the best solutions are. So that's what I'd really like to spend my time doing as lieutenant governor. Well, I think that we need to make Vermont a livable place for the people who are here, and then that will in turn attract people from elsewhere. And I think to do that, we need to make our housing more affordable. We need to make sure that our jobs are treating people well. I've been a strong supporter of the minimum wage and the paid family leave. And that we also need to make sure that our children are well taken care of. I've supported bills increasing child care access and after school programs, and also I would put climate change in that as well for our future.
The things that really are highlights for me, one is making sure we revitalize small communities. Chittenden County, where I live, has a lot of economic activity. It has the natural advantages of the airport, the university, and so on. Communities throughout the state need an infusion of economic opportunity, optimism, and I think state government can help bring its resources to bear to help that. Another one that's a personal area of passion of mine is making sure we get more people out of poverty and into the workforce. And We have dozens of programs that are these micro programs that are all well intended, but we have too many people who have a lot of potential, but just continue to languish out of the workforce, in poverty, dependent on government programs. And I really think we can provide a lot more support and bring out people's full potential. And then third, and perhaps most existentially important, is taking on climate change. It is the existential question of our time. State government has a role to play with its resources and policies, and my particular approach is to do as much as we can to fight climate change in ways that save people money, because we need to enlist everybody in the effort to fight climate change, not just those who it's front of mind for. I'm a freelancer, so I'm interested in issues all across the board, but those are really three of the most important to me.
I think we have to take bold climate action. Our children are asking for that, not just for themselves, but for their children and their children's children. And they are aware in a way that I think many of us weren't when we were young about our futures, about their futures. And so we have to make sure that we are working on that issue. And then in terms of the economy, I run the Southern Vermont Dance Festival, which was a long-term economic driver built after Tropical Storm Irene. And it was built my son and I had lost all of our belongings in that flood. And so what I knew was that if we utilized the resources that already exist in our state, which is arts, agriculture, recreation, and we bring it all together and we connect it to people and government, then we really start to have a thriving economy. So I think in the rural economy, to do anything other than really build with what we have and really access the resources for what we already have would be a mistake. We really do have to grow our economy that way and make sure people have the purchasing power to shop in our stores and eat in our restaurants.
Patrick Winburn, a local attorney, is also considering a bid for the governorship, and he told us he was planning to announce it formally on Super Tuesday in March.
I'm tired of just complaining to myself and my friends about what the problems are. And you can entertain yourself, which is fine, but if you don't get something done, you're just entertaining yourself. And it matters who's in charge. Well, I mean, there are a lot of issues, but they've been stifled for so many years. And number one would be the opioid crisis. What big pharma has done to people to trash their lives is unspeakable, and they need to pay. They can never pay for what they did, but they can pay. And they made money off of people, and that's what I do as a personal injury lawyer. Accident cases are insurance cases. People don't fully realize that, but accident cases are insurance cases, and I've been beaten up on big insurance companies for 40 years, and I represent the powerless against the powerful.
Afterwards, Representative Kathleen James, one of the event organizers, gave us her takeaway from the evening.
But what mattered most to me was that so many Democrats from all over Bennington County turned out. We had people from the South Shire, people from the North Shire, people from all of our communities, and that's what we're looking to do, is to build a sense of unity in the party as we head into 2020, because we've all got to work together to make a change.
2020, many said, was shaping up as one of the most crucial election years ever. With just under 10 months to go before the general elections in November, the political pot is getting warmer. For the GNAT-TV News Project, I'm Andrew McKeever.